Alright my friends, welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew and today I wanted to talk to you guys about a specific thing that I tend to hear a lot about. Even good old David Jaffe made a video the other day talking about how this is kind of a bad thing, or ridiculing people because sometimes, my friends, it takes a little while to get into a game and actually, you know, be like, oh, okay, this is good. Like, it clicks. Sometimes it takes a little while. And I have been guilty of this multiple times, making videos very short-sightedly, being like, yeah, man, I played it for 5 hours and this game was absolute trash. I've been there. I did that with Bannister's Ghost of New Eden. I got a little bit into the game and something rubbed me the wrong way and I was just like, I'm out, peace, I'm done. I'm not even gonna play it no more. But I came back to it, I beat that game, and I freaking love it because it's incredible. So guys, the thing that I'm talking about is how much time is fair to commit to a game to see if you actually like it. Now right now, I just got done reading a comment on my in the comments section, and somebody said, man, I played it for an hour and I couldn't get into it. We are referring to Star Wars Outlaws. Said, I played it for an hour, I couldn't get into it, and my reply was, dude, it takes a couple hours to get into this game. And gosh, dude, how much time can studios realistically ask us, hey, will you put this much time into our game, and then, you know, it will get good, but you got to get through this X amount of time before the game gets good. Another prime example was Death Stranding. Death Stranding literally took 8 hours to pick up and actually just woof, like flow all the way to the end of that game. And for the committed few, or the committed people that actually got through that time, the rewarding experience was so good. It was so immersive and just so incredible that Death Stranding is probably my #1 Hideo Kojima game to this day, above and beyond anything Metal Gear. That's how good that game was, and I loved it. I loved the characters, I loved the story beats, I loved everything through that game, the exploration. Honestly, guys, I'll tell you right now, dude, if I wasn't like a walking simulator fan, if I didn't love exploring open world games, I think I would have gave up on that game long before I got to the part where it starts to like really pick up. Now, with Death Stranding, yeah, there's a lot. You got to learn a lot. Like your whole first 8 hours is pretty much just learning how to carry stuff from one destination to the other. It really is that long of a freaking, I guess you could say, tutorial, just to learn how to deal with the terrain and carrying things at the same time. But once you got that part down, the rest of it is story. I mean, yeah, you're still carrying stuff, but it is 100% more story and story focused, and then you get through that. So at the end of the day, guys, this is kind of the way I look at it. If you're gonna spend $70 minimum for some of these games, and in cases like Star Wars Outlaws, where Ubisoft is generous enough to give you 3 days early access for another $50 on top of the price they're already asking, even knowing this game is gonna be like $30 in a month or two. And that's just Ubisoft, man. That's just Ubisoft. You can literally play this game for $20 on Xbox and PC, just getting the paying for Ubisoft Plus. So there is that lower barrier to entry for the Ubisoft games if you're on one of those two platforms. But if you're on PlayStation, yeah, you are stuck paying full price most of the time for these games. So I do get it, and I do understand that, like, look, man, I bought a game, I don't want to have to go through X amount of time before I can actually start enjoying the game. And I do kind of feel like gamers give up prematurely on some stuff because they want that instant gratification that something like a Call of Duty or some of these other games offer right out of the gate. And you think about it, you play through a Call of Duty campaign and it's like action-packed from start to finish, and it's like, whoa, yeah, that was like 5 hours and that was great. Whereas some games can literally take you 5 hours before it opens up. And I get how that can be frustrating to certain gamers. Like I do, and I 100% understand that. But with Star Wars Outlaws, guys, what I've found and what I have come to realize with this game, and with all Ubisoft games for the most part, they usually generally do start off slow. But like I was saying in the video I put out the other day, is if you think of Ubisoft games as a marathon, like, all right, I'm getting into this game, I've got a weekend, I'm gonna play it, you should have zero issues understanding or getting used to it. You know, that first part, like, I generally do try to rush through, you know, like that first couple of hours of Ubisoft games, just because they are pretty much like, you know, like take Assassin's Creed Odyssey, one of my favorite Assassin's Creed games ever freaking made. You are on Kefalonia for almost 6 hours. With Origins, you are in Siwa for like almost 6 hours until you level up enough to get out of there, because they are level gated. They're level gated areas. You have to complete that tutorial phase to get off that island of Kefalonia or to get out of Siwa. But once you do, the game just opens up and it's like you can go anywhere, you can do anything. You know, even with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you're in.
How do I use those?
You're in Norway. You know, for about 6 hours. Like, you are gonna be in these games, in these like tutorial areas before the games absolutely open up, and you are just free to go anywhere you want and do whatever you want. And that's, in my opinion, that's okay. I don't think, because, all right, if you look at the amount of time I put into a Ubisoft game, usually 100 plus hours, with 50 hours of that literally just being exploring, that 6 hours is nothing. Once I'm out there and enjoying and fully immersed in the world, I don't ever think about that time that I spent in those opening areas ever again. Thankfully, Star Wars is a lot shorter than that. It literally took maybe 40 minutes to get out of the very first area, and then get to the next planet. But then, you know, the next planet, you kind of get forced into stuff for about another hour or so, depending on how you do. You know, maybe another hour, a little bit more than that. But then boom, it opens up and you're free to explore that whole planet. You know, the reason why you're locked there is because you got to get parts to get your ship up and running, and then you can go into space and stuff like that. So once you get through that part and it kind of opens up, that's when it starts to get to a point where it's like, all right, yeah, I can be fully immersed in this. Most people are going to run through that on a speeder and get through that pretty quickly. But me, I prefer to do it on foot. So it's even going to take me longer to get through some of that stuff, because I like to take in the scene and I like to run around and just see things and see how things react and spend time dawdling, looking at things. Right now, to date, I think that Star Wars is probably Star Wars Outlaws is probably one of the best looking open world games that Ubisoft has made to date. Now, Avatar is freaking phenomenal, but when I'm in, because of the third person camera or whatever, but when I'm in Star Wars Outlaws on this first planet and I look at like the dirt textures and I look at how things are, you know, are blended together, you know, like you've got like a rock and then you've got like the dirt that blends up next to it, and you can see like granularity inside in that. The softness to the dirt contrasted with the sharpness of like the rocks and the other materials in there. Like I can see a lot of people looking at this game and being like, oh man, this is blurry, this is ugly, blah, blah, blah. I can easily see that, but it looks so natural and so good to me that I'm just like, wow, this is incredible. And the new wind physics for like the trees and how things like the particle effects and how everything blows across the screen. And this game just looks freaking phenomenal to me, man. I love it. I think it's incredible when you get inside like some of the buildings and stuff, and you start walking around and you're looking at like if you've got all the ray tracing on and stuff, you know, because there's hidden there's a hidden outlaw setting that you can actually enable. And surprisingly, as long as I don't turn on the RTX XGTI or whatever it is that NVIDIA focused like lighting effect or whatever, I can still max out outlaw settings, or to max on all the other ray tracing on my GPU and still get a very playable experience with everything maxed out, and I'm like, wow, this looks incredible. So you get like the better shadowing, you get the better looking the lighting, you get the better looking freaking reflections and stuff that just look absolutely incredible when you're inside some of those indoor areas and stuff, or like on the ships or anything like that. And you know, having an AMD GPU, guys, is sometimes it really can leave you feeling like, oh man, I'm missing out on stuff. But when you're playing a game like Star Wars Outlaws and you get to immerse yourself and you get to use all of that stuff and it still is playable and it still feels good, that right there kind of makes that reaffirms my purchase for that. Like the ray tracing in Star Wars Outlaws looks significantly better than the ray tracing in the Black Myth Wukong. I was like, wow, this is incredible. Like both of them are RTX branded, both of them are NVIDIA sponsored, yet Ubisoft makes it so AMD guys can still enjoy their games because they focus on building that tech to work on everything. Now I can still utilize the lighting ray tracing from NVIDIA and still get a 30 to 40 FPS experience. And still be able to actually play that without it looking like a slideshow, which you can't do with the other game with Black Myth Wukong. It just turns into complete, you know, garbage at a respectable resolution. Whereas this, I can play it at like native AA and still get like a 30 to 40 FPS experience. So I was blown away with that. The fact that I can still use those technologies on an AMD GPU, it's incredible, my friends. Now, I wanted to close this out because it is getting a little bit long. My friends, some games do take a little bit longer than others to get into, to find your footing, to actually get immersed in the experience. I know that going through these tutorials can be extremely frustrating sometimes, and you just want to rush them, and then that kind of puts a bad taste in your mouth. If you're experiencing any other bugs or issues, you know, hardware related or anything like that, that could absolutely throw an extra thing in your that could actually throw like an extra block into like the, hey man, this sucks. But I want you guys to think about this. Every Ubisoft game that comes out, there are an immense amount of YouTubers out there that are not even gonna play the game, that are just gonna hate on it. And then there are others that are gonna go out of their way to find those day one bugs in review code for Ubisoft games. And then they're gonna meme them. They're gonna make fun of them. They're gonna talk bad about Ubisoft. They're gonna go after them for purely for short-term personal gain. That's it, guys. And you have to be able to wade through that stuff. Now, I am a full price paying customer for Star Wars Outlaws, and I'm not having the issues that they're having. I'm not having wonky bugs or flickering or any kind of weird stuff that they're out there trying to convince you that this game is broken. It's not doing that, but I am running on a 7900 XTX with a 7800X 3D, and I've been playing since day one, early access, when I was able to start playing at midnight Monday night. I've been playing this game since then. I've been uploading footage, I've been having a good time, I've been testing the features, everything else. So,
but this accelerator will give you a much stronger kick.
I'm rarely ever wrong. Let's just put it that way. I usually come into games with an open mind. I usually only buy games that I actually want to play, so it's easier for me to give them a better review when I actually enjoy that experience and it fulfills the realistic, the expectations that I had for the project in the first place. So it is easier for me. If you want to listen to the other people that are just out there literally making money to say negative things, that's all they're doing, guys. People eat that up. They love the negativity. Once the algorithm on YouTube goes negative for a game, it just stays that way. It just stays that way. I usually have to wait a few weeks before starting to put out positive content for Ubisoft games before I actually start getting viewership for them. So it's nothing new. I've been doing this for 3 years now. I'm learning the ropes. I'm learning how things work. And Ubisoft is just one of those companies that are going to get the Ubisoft tax regardless, I fully enjoy Ubisoft games. I do. I buy them at their gold or platinum, or you know, the platinum levels every time. I did the same thing with Skull and Bones. I buy every Ubisoft game at the $109 to $129 price point. That's where I buy into those games, because I value that extra 3 days that I get to make content before everybody else does. And even buying that content, even buying those games at that price for that extra 3 days, I still have to contend with the people that aren't even going to buy this game. And that sucks, guys. It sucks. All I want to do is give you guys my accurate, honest opinion about the Ubisoft game that I buy, because I do love them. I do enjoy them. I absolutely love exploring the worlds. I mean, I've probably got 50 hours in Avatar just exploring the world, my friends. That's it. That's what I do. I explore some of them, most of them. Like this one, I'll beat. All the Assassin's Creed games I beat. All the Ghost Recon games I beat. The Division games I beat. You know, the only ones that I really don't beat are Far Cry and probably Avatar. I don't know if I'll ever beat Avatar, but I will beat, you know, all of the other games, all of my main franchises. I do buy Far Cry and all the other ones just because I like to explore the open worlds that they have. Other than that, those games are, you know, sometimes I'll go through some of the missions, sometimes I don't. But for the most part, yeah, guys, that's how I feel about Ubisoft, man. I feel like if you give them enough time and you get into the games, pretty soon you're sucked into it and you're having fun. Obviously, every single game out there is going to have, you know, side missions and side content that you can or can't, you know, that are optional. I suggest doing them, even if they're corny and stupid, because they add to your immersion and gives you more points. And dude, that's the whole point of buying a video game, is to keep you busy. I remember, if you're as old as I am, you used to buy Super Mario with the 9 levels or 8 levels or whatever the freak it had, and you literally played those over and over and over and over and over and over again. At least these newer games have tons of stuff that you can do. I don't know. Welcome to video gaming in 2024, man. So, all right, guys, if you like this content, do not forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.